We're back with another episode of Double Barrel Shotgun with your host Yves and B coming at you again, man. So we're glad to be back. Been a little time and delay. I'm just trying to get the schedules right, but here we are once again. Yves, this week we're going to get into Andrew Luck. We kind of teased it about the last episode. You know, we've been talking about offline. I've been waiting to get some things off my chest about Luck. So, I mean, let's just kind of encapsulate what's happened so far this season as they're on a bye week. Indianapolis right now, what are they now? 3 and 4, 3 and 5? 3 and 5. 3 and 5. And a lousy division, by the way. I just think that division just needs to be buried. I don't even know why they even bother bringing a playoff team for that division. But 3 and 5 nonetheless. 2 of the wins by Hasselbeck, if I recall, right?
Correct.
So that makes things a lot more interesting. He's you know, there's some debating in this case here. You know, we know everyone agrees he's not playing well. So the question is it the coaching? Is it him himself regressing? Is it the talent around him? So, you know, I don't know. What's your thoughts before I get to mine? But let me.
I think honestly, there's a myriad of issues in that organization right now, and it's been there for years since he's been drafted, even prior him even coming there. But in this particular situation, we got an ownership guy, Irsay, who's a trip in his own self. So we'll start with that. Then we have a GM who, for some reason or another, likes to come up and buy a whole bunch of offensive players, drafts a whole bunch of offensive players, but doesn't realize that he needs to take care of the one key component aside from his quarterback, his offensive line. Has not improved at all. This guy has been the most sacked hit quarterback for the last 3 years. Ridiculous. You don't get him some linemen to protect him, and they try to do it on the cheap, which is crazy. Okay, which is crazy. And so he gets beat up. Running game, very suspect. I don't think Pagano's really a bad coach. I just think that the situation, I think the players played for him. That's obvious. The man that came back from cancer, and the guys just played ball out for him. And I think he can coach. The problem is the front office. That's the issue right there. I think that's a really big thing. Now, has Luck regressed in his play? No doubt, because he has that particular gunslinger mindset, where I think that he thinks his arm basically can get him out of trouble, and he tries to make throws that he probably shouldn't be doing, and he throws picks, a la Brett Favre. So we're not going to take away. So there's a lot of different things there. However, I just think that the GM hasn't really done the job that he should be doing, is by putting getting players for this guy to make the team work. That's my opinion.
Okay. I'm the exact opposite. I mean, all the things you said very well. Some, you know, they're true in some respect in all sorts of ways. But my thing is the factors haven't changed from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. And the fact is their line has never been great. And he was still playing better than this before. The fact is, to your point, they drafted all sorts of offensive players in this case here. So he's got 2 really good, nice young receivers. You know, the last year they're going to be breakout stars. All of a sudden now, now we're wondering, like, well, it's the talent around them. Okay. I can see in this case here that I find that, I don't know what it is about Luck. I don't know if it's the media. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's the pedigree they supposedly has. That the narrative has been like, oh my gosh, he came out Stanford like John Elway, his father Oliver Luck, and you know what? And hey, he should just be great because hey, he's all the fundamentals. And it's one of those things where it's a classic example. If this is basketball, you say like, okay, he's an analytics guy and he looks great, but yet it doesn't translate to what it's supposed to be. But he looks great analytically.
He looks like Jimmy Fredette.
Right, exactly. The same thing here. I mean, this case here, Luck in my mind is like, yeah, everything says he should be great. But the fact is, look, I told you from 2 years ago in that playoff game, when you threw 5 picks.
Right.
And I said, yo, dude, I'm sorry, man. And I remember the day after that, I happened to be home that next Monday, and guys were on ESPN lighting up dudes on SVP or so. Because they said these guys are just homering for this guy. Say, yo, you tell me if this was any other player, Dalton, Kaepernick, you name it, RG3 at the time, any of those guys throw 5 picks, they've been pretty much been getting to some rotisserie right now in this case here. Luck, Oh no, he's like, oh, he battled back this time. I'm like, I'm thinking 5 picks, dude. And the next week, you got you know what handed to him by New England.
Right.
All right. So when I look at that, that's 3 years ago. I've seen nothing different. What I see is a guy in this case that the league's figured out. That's what I see.
Well, I think so. I think that comes into it. But I'm gonna say this though. Take away the comparison with Elway, Kim, Stanford, and everything of the sort. You have to remember when Elway came in the league too. He wasn't lighting it up like he didn't light it up like right away.
I'm not saying he didn't light it up. I mean, right. Look.
And remember, it wasn't to say that Elway was not successful. It took him a while to get successful.
Right, but you can't have it both ways. The argument, you can't have it with the.
I'm not saying no.
Right,
but I do see a little bit of that moniker that still comes into it. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that
because the dude came in lighting it up. That's the point. He came in lighting it up. Yeah, 40 touchdowns or something like that last year. He came in lighting it up. So
right now, okay, granted, but here's the thing now. This year we've got to look at it that the play has regressed. Yes, the play has regressed. The league has figured out, as you said. That's why I love the NFL. NFL doesn't joke about stuff like that.
Dude's always looking downfield. Check off. Try it sometimes. It works. Like, stop looking downfield. And my point is that this dude's making
every now and then. Set it
right.
up.
And my point is that the media gives this dude a pass week after week. That if this was any of the other quarterbacks I mentioned, they would be already talking about that this dude here is regressing, this dude here is a failure, and this dude's a flop, and blah blah. The next thing, I'm like, holy smokes, guys throwing 30-yard seam passes where there's nowhere around and getting picked.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's obviously
that's nothing to do with line. Because let me tell you this much.
I mean, they've obviously noticed that when when Hasselbeck came in, they've realized that hey, Hasselbeck, who's 40 some odd years old,
you don't want to get hit.
He's performing.
He gets the ball.
I think that after when they fired the OC, which I still don't understand why
that is a scapegoat moment.
Right,
that's all it is.
Because this guy was
feel sorry for the brother, but he got scapegoated. That's all.
And this guy was talked about a lot of head coaching jobs in the league just a year ago. All of a sudden, he's an idiot.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Luck is right now looking like the ultimate Revlon dude. Okay, because when the numbers were done, the Carolina game was the perfect example of it.
Yeah.
I sat there for 3.5 quarters. I turned off my TV before literally before the comeback, right. The quote unquote comeback. Let me put it that way. Right. Came back. So he comes there gunslinging the last 7 minutes of the game, and everyone looks back at the score is like, whoa, hey, he threw this many yards, for 3 touchdowns.
What did you do for the last 3?
Right.
What did you do for the 3 quarters?
Well, he's like a -1 in quarterback rating after 3 quarters in this case before that. They don't notice that part of it. If I see him one more time patting the ball, looking downfield, and DB just sitting there just waiting, or safety waiting for him to pick him off. Like, come on! At some point, folks got to stop, get off the bandwagon. And in my mind, it's like the media in this case has sworn themselves, say he should be great. We have anointed him as great. Therefore, we cannot be. We're too stubborn to actually say, you know what? Maybe he's not great just yet.
Yeah, I'll say this because I think Bomani had I think it was a couple weeks ago. Obviously, and he basically spoke on it, basically saying, "Look, we were basically sold that this guy was this pedigree. He was this particular guy. And let's be real, the dad wasn't exactly a great quarterback.
No, he was a backup. Like, really?
Right. The narrative that always comes up about his father, about how he was in the league. Yeah, he was a backup.
Dude, he's catching coffee at three places.
What was he doing?
Yeah,
exactly. So I don't remember Mr. Luck being that good in the NFL, to be honest with you. The thing about it is that I think there was also an interesting thing where Bomani brought up the fact, what's his name?
Gruden.
With Gruden, yes. Dude.
That was a piece of radio.
Story up, I went, wow.
Right.
He said, Gruden came up and had him on the board.
Yep.
He said, dude, you had a dude wide open in this particular play.
Right.
You went over here.
You get checked off, in other words.
Why you went there.
Right.
He goes, you shouldn't have gone there.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? I know, but, I just wanted to make... He goes, you got to take what's there.
Right. And that's the point that I'm making. That in this case here, has coddled this guy so much as being the heir apparent, that any sort of criticism about that is soft and say, well, it's the O-line, well, it's the talent, well, they're not on the same page, well, it's the offensive coordinator, it's next thing, it's Hanukkah, it's Christmas, it's something every week with this dude. Okay? At some point, it's the dude. Okay? That's my point. At some point, your luck runs out. It's you. And at some point, they got to realize that. You can't keep blaming Trent Richardson. He ain't there no more. Like
Trent Richardson does suck.
He sucked, but there's no more scapegoating.
Right.
It's you, dude. Get your game right. Because let me tell you something. I said before, I could count at least about a half a dozen dudes that if this was them, they'd be lighting them up, having full shows on them every week.
Maybe it's probably because he's in Indianapolis. I don't know. Maybe it might be the thing. Because I mean, the pressure that he felt. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. He came in after Peyton Manning, who sucked again, by the way.
Oh, we'll get him another day.
With that being said, like, I mean, that walking into that situation, this guy, to me, I think that this guy is
really. You're going there with that, really? Hey, no disrespect my fam that live in Indianapolis. Okay, it's a wonderful city. I've been there. I'll be there again. But when it comes to like, pressure in markets, I'm sorry. Indianapolis ain't really putting the fear of pressure in this case of player. You're talking about Eli begging for a trade to go to New York? That's pressure. Okay, that's pressure.
The Chargers were a horrible organization.
It didn't matter. If he wanted to actually have the relaxed scenario, he would be chilling in SoCal in this case for the last 12 years.
True.
He traded me.
The organization was a mess. That's the reason why
he traded me. Send me to Gotham. Not the Jets, even to the G-men, okay, where people expect winning.
Thanks to Pops, but that was Pops Manning getting involved in that.
My point is this case here. That ain't no pressure going to Indianapolis coming there on 1-15 team.
Well, because it's really, not like they're a big media market either, right? So
right, I mean, they're middle of the pack is my point. So like, they come on with that point. Like, I mean, you make my point for me. No more excuses, man. Give me a break with that.
I'm just gonna say, look, you know what? Every man's gonna have a couple bad years. So I'm not gonna say that obviously. Hey, man, he faced the Pats. The Pats beat his ass. So, you know, obviously we understand that. They scrunched him. They beat him up and everything. And he doesn't have a good record against the Pats. I don't think he's ever going to beat Belichick at this rate with Brady there.
Oh, no, heck. Well, I mean, right now he needs to just figure out how to beat, like, damn in Houston right now. Never mind worry about
that's the thing. But, I mean, as we said, the division is terrible. You know what I mean? So they can probably still get in there with a non-winning record and host a playoff game. You know what I mean? That's how messed up it is right now.
I'm just begging to get
he has a lacerated kidney right now. Lord knows how long he's going to be out, if he's coming back at all, because they say that could be anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks, which I think is being very generous, because you don't come back from a lacerated kidney.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's always putting something in there to keep him upright. But let's put it this way. So here's what I saw about this game. Luck fans, Colts fans, all I got to say to you guys is, like, listen, your boy needs to get his game right. Okay, the book's out. You need to figure things out in this case here. No more excuses. I don't want to hear anything about O-lines. And let's put it this way. Everyone has a garbage O-line for the most part in the league these days. There's like maybe a handful of teams, about 3 you can count and have like, oh, you have a serious O-line. Dallas one, New England probably another one, and I'm already trying to search for a third. And after that, maybe Denver. After that, everyone's O-line is mediocre to bad.
Well, I just think that he just needs to come and know sometimes, hey, man, you got to know when to reel it in, find the easier plays, trust, and let your receivers do the work. That's what you pay them to do. Just
you know what this reminds me of a little bit? Huh? What he reminds me of, just on a side note while you're at this up, this reminds me how it was for a few years ago with Durant. There's always some excuse. And then somehow the flip finally switched and said, okay, we're done. We finally threw up our hands. We were wrong. And they finally started. Now the pendulum's probably gone too far the other way with Durant. But that's what this reminds me of. Like, dare not say nothing wrong with Durant. Up to now, Durant's been called so much that you barely say a criticism about him if he's going to go somewhere. And then dude's looking for like blood. So, in my mind, this is the same type of mindset. Like, you media folks, man, it's all right. It's all right to say in this case he's not that good at the moment. That's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, like, I mean, you gotta talk it like it is. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, but again, I'm not going to come and say like Luck is trash.
All I'm saying is, well, I'll say this: Luck is trash this year. He's trash this year.
Okay, well, let me rephrase. Luck is trash this year.
Okay,
not good, because I have him on a couple of my fantasy teams. Yeah, I took him pretty high too.
Yeah.
So
the question is this a blip or is this something that's a downward spiral? That's the question.
I think it's good. Like, he's going to have to make some adjustments to his game. There's no doubt about that, because this league is a rough man's league, man. Once they figure you out, they're like dogs, man. Every single team that plays you after that, even the crappy ones.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, man.
They're coming after you.
So that's all we got to say for this week, man. So, I mean, we ain't trying to be too rough, but we had to call it the way we see it, man. Anyways, where can the good folks find you, man?
The good folks can find me at Wise Charlem.
All right, and as always, you can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short form RM, man. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week.
Don't be like Ronda Rousey.